So I know I've made a video called Why Konoha is the Strongest Village, where I say it's basically common knowledge that Konoha is the strongest village in Naruto. And by and large, this is the consensus. Konoha is the strongest of the strong amongst the ninja villages. But what if I told you there was a counter argument to that statement? A counter argument that actually holds a fair amount of water. And that maybe, just maybe, Konoha is not the strongest village in Naruto. What if maybe the strongest village in Konoha is one that doesn't get talked about enough? One located in the clouds. Today we are talking about the village hidden in the clouds, specifically how it might be stronger than Konoha. But what do I know? I only talk about Naruto for a job. But before we get cracking into this theory, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Also, guys, I have another YouTube page. I started it kind of recently. It's called NC Gamer 23, not NC Hammer 23. Little play on words there. And it's a page where I mess around and play video games. And if you guys love gaming channels and you like my personality, which is ridiculous, but maybe there is some people out there who do, please pop on over there and see if you enjoy my other content. So the Hidden Cloud. It might feel like a stretch to say that it is as strong or even stronger than Konoha. That's because the average person doesn't know a lot of the exploits of the Hidden Cloud. In my Why Konoha is the Strongest Village in Naruto video, we talked about some of the geographical, political, and other reasons that would have built Konoha as the strongest village. And while we may not have as much information on the Hidden Cloud as we do for Konoha, there is a good amount. But before we get into like canonical knowledge from the Naruto verse, we should talk about the things that we can understand without actually being told. Kind of like how we did with Konoha. Let's talk about geographical location. And I'm not gonna be talking about the soil this time because I had a bunch of well actuallys when I said there was good soil in rainforests. Didn't know I had a large following in the agrolysis community, but apparently I do. But what I will talk about is the Land of Lightning's location. You see, the Land of Lightning has by far and away the most coastline out of any country in the world, at least the world map that we get. Most Naruto maps are a square, and we can't see the back ends of the Land of Wind or the Land of Stone, so we don't really know what's beyond those certain points. So if you use these square maps, the Land of Lightning has the most coast. But even hypothetically, if the Land of Wind and the Land of Earth are rounded out to have a bunch of coastline, it wouldn't matter because the Land of Lightning's coastline is the most useful. You see, the Land of Lightning has coastline that faces the Land of Earth, the Land of Water, the Land of Fire, and I guess technically the Land of Wind if you go past the Land of Fire. This is obviously incredibly important for things like trade and defensibility. See, you would assume something that's a peninsula would be very easy to attack. But how many boat battles have we seen in Naruto? Hell, I don't think we technically saw a boat until Boruto. So by being surrounded by mostly water, that actually helps in terms of defensibility in the Naruto world. There's no navies. I mean, there might be, but we haven't seen them. And since we're talking about defensibility, let's also talk about the geography of the Land of Lightning. We haven't seen a whole lot of images of the Land of Lightning, but basically everything we have seen is mountains, and very steep ones. In fact, in both Naruto, Shinobi Strikers, and all of the other Naruto games, the village hidden in the clouds is usually built atop very steep mountains. And as these mountains jet out of the water or out of the ground, but it's usually out of the water, there are buildings built around the top of these mountains with bridges running to each other. This implies two things: that A, the village hidden in the clouds is very technologically advanced and always has been. It is incredibly hard to build on top of a mountain, especially when you're building at cloud level, because let's remember what this village is called: the village hidden in the clouds. And every time we've seen the village, everything is in the clouds. So these buildings, aka the entirety of the village hidden in the clouds, is built thousands of feet above sea level. And the second thing that it implies is this would be damn near impossible to attack as an opposing force. One, we addressed the no boats thing, but two, how are you supposed to mobilize an entire force to attack a city on top of a mountain, especially when you can only come from one way? That one way being the southwestern tip of the Land of Lightning. So now the people defending the village in the clouds have a geographic advantage in both height and, I guess, water. There is also the fact that the Land of Lightning is further than every other country is from any other country. What do I mean by that? None of the major nations touch. There is small nations between every single one of them. But in the cases of the Land of Fire, the Land of Earth, and the Land of Wind, there is only one small nation between each of them, that is. The closest village to the Land of Lightning, aka the Land of Fire, aka Konoha, has 3 small countries between the two of them. The Land of Water has an ocean between them in the Land of Lightning, and the second closest land, the Land of Earth, has 5 small countries between them in the Land of Lightning, meaning that in order to mobilize an offensive force against the Land of Lightning, you have to march through what is going to be a couple of very angry small nations. And considering that the Second Shinobi World War was all about people walking through the Land of Rain and the Land of Rain getting really upset about that and fighting back, this is not a good idea. I mean, sure, one of the countries that Konoha has to pass through is the Land of Hot Water, where Hidan is from, and they're a bit like Switzerland. They don't get involved in any military affairs. But hey, Hidan might still be there. And I know what you're thinking,
Well, if it's only mountains and oceans, how do you sustain an economy there?
and I'll counter that point with, what did Pacific Islanders do for thousands of years? Oh, I don't know, thrive until white men found out they wanted pineapples. And their thriving economy is actually canon. You see, in the last data book, every village is ranked in 3 things: population, economy, and military. All of these things are ranked on a 1 to 5 scale. Konoha, for example, has a 5 out of 5 population. Konoha is by far and away the biggest village. For military forces, Konoha is ranked a 3 out of 5, and for economy, they're ranked a 2 out of 5, leading to a total of 10 of 15 possible points. You see, the Hidden Cloud only has a 3 out of 5 in population. They don't live in fields like Konoha. It's much harder to populate on top of a mountain. But their military is ranked a 4 out of 5, a whole point higher than Konoha, which should be enough evidence right there that they are a stronger village. But their economy is ranked a 5 out of 5, 3 whole points higher than Konoha, giving them a total of 12 out of 15 possible points, which, by the way, is the highest out of any ninja village. As to why their village is thriving, there's a couple of reasons. We've already touched on one of them, the fact that they are very technologically advanced. But also in the shinobi world, having military might is having economic might. Smaller countries will hire shinobi for jobs, and that money gets put back into the village. And then considering the fact that they have a ton of coastline, they are probably a shipping and trading center of the ninja world, on top of the fact that they probably have a thriving seafood market. But what's truly important is their military might. Outside of the Hokage, the Raikage are the strongest people on Earth, and you could even argue that many of the Raikage rivaled the strength of the Hokage. And this is evidenced by the histories of the Great Shinobi World Wars that both Konoha and the Hidden Cloud participated in. Specifically, the First and the Third Great Shinobi World Wars. Let's go chronologically here. In the First Great Shinobi World War, Tobirama was essentially forced into signing an armistice against the Hidden Cloud. Essentially, Tobirama identified that if Konoha signed an armistice with the Hidden Cloud, the rest of the battles around their borders would come to an end. Because I'll do a brief review on what the First Great Shinobi World War was about, but if you want a deeper look, I've covered it in its entirety right here. But essentially, as these nations came to fruition, there was disputes about where people's borders should be, and this caused smaller skirmishes. Hashirama handed out all of the tailed beasts, hoping that that would quell some of the anger, but it didn't. So essentially, Konoha had to fight every single other village. But at the same time, every other village was fighting. It was the most complete out of all of the Great Shinobi World Wars, in that everybody was involved. But it was still clear that Konoha and the Hidden Cloud were the strongest, so if they formed an allegiance, the war would come to an end. Konoha was essentially forced into making this decision because they had already lost Hashirama and they couldn't defend their border from all sides. But when Tobirama went to go meet with the second Raikage, whose name we do not know. Oh wait, I'm kidding, it's A, just like every other Raikage. Raikages 1 through 4, all named the letter A. He was attacked by the Gold and Silver Brothers. Now, one of these days, I'm gonna do a much deeper dive on the Gold and Silver Brothers and a couple of theories about them, but for the moment, let me basically brush over what they are or who they are. They are direct descendants of Hagoromo. You could say, yeah, so is everyone, but for some reason, their bloodline was stronger. And one day, they were out adventuring and they got eaten by Kurama. They spent 2 weeks inside of Kurama, gnawing on his intestinal tract, and eventually he got so sick of them being in there, he threw them up. And because they had eaten so much of Kurama's flesh, they got Kurama's chakra, and they were both essentially Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. The first Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, mind you, because they were numbing on Kurama before he got sealed in Mito. The Gold and Silver Brothers were therefore very powerful, and also very war-hungry, so they didn't want Tobirama and A, the second Raikage, to sign this peace treaty. And when they attacked him, they almost killed him. But don't worry, they're gonna get another shot. Breaking up a peace treaty essentially got them kicked out of the Hidden Cloud. But we don't know if it got them kicked out of the Hidden Cloud or kicked out of the Hidden Cloud, because later in that very same war, the Gold and Silver brothers would be leading a platoon that would catch Tobirama and his platoon of ninjas that included Shisui's grandfather, Hiruzen, and Danzo doing spy work in the Hidden Cloud. Tobirama identified that his platoon wasn't gonna be able to make it back to Konoha before the Gold and Silver brothers caught up with them. So he hung back and acted as a diversion. That's how powerful the Gold and Silver brothers were, that they had Tobirama, Hiruzen, Danzo, and Shisui's grandfather, who also maybe had the Kodowa Matsukame, and they didn't stand and fight. And then Kinkaku and Ginkaku, the Gold and Silver brothers, killed Tobirama, the 5th strongest person to come out of Konoha. Naruto, Sasuke, Hashirama, Madara, oh shit, Minato, and then Tobirama 6th. Do y'all think Obito would lose in a fight to Tobirama? This is for another video. Regardless, Tobirama is killed by Kinkaku and Ginkaku, which makes a lot of sense because as Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, they have an insane amount of chakra. There's also the fact that they are descendants of Hagoromo directly, which means they had an insane amount of chakra. And it's a good thing they have that insane amount of chakra because they also have Hagoromo's 6-path tools. Essentially, Hagoromo had 6 weapons he really liked, and they require an insane amount of chakra to wield. And the whole purpose of a lot of these tools is essentially to pull your soul out of your body, slice it, and then throw it in a gourd where you get to live forever. Think of it a bit like Itachi's Totsuka blade with more steps. So in a sense, the Land of Lightning won the First Great Shinobi World War. I mean, every other village lost almost 2 Kage, while they only lost 1, maybe. See, we don't know if the first Raikage died in the First Great Shinobi World War or if he died in the lead up to it. All we know is the second Raikage was in charge during that time. But we know for a fact that Konoha lost 2 Kage, Hashirama and Tobirama, arguably some of their strongest. And then a lot of things happen, like the Second Great Shinobi World War, which the Land of Lightning sits out of, because believe it or not, if the mainland is all attacking each other, they can chill because they're really far from it. So while everyone was kind of invading the village hidden in the rain and kind of losing to Hanzo, they were just like, we'll let you guys destroy your areas. And therefore, over the course of a 10-year-long war where the entirety of the mainland was devastated, Land of Lightning just prospered economically and built up their military might. So they were ready to give everyone the smoke in the Third Great Shinobi World War. Before we get into that, we should talk about how they built up their military might. You see, when Hashirama had handed out all the tailed beasts like they were free candy on Halloween, the Hidden Cloud apparently put a bid on Matatabi the 2 Tails and Gyuki the 8 Tails. Now, say what you will, we're not entirely sure whether or not tailed beast strength correlates to tail number. We just know that Kurama is stronger than all the other tailed beasts combined. Gyuki is arguably the 2nd strongest tailed beast, being able to shove a tailed beast bomb coming from the 10 tails back into its mouth using a tailed beast bomb of its own. And Matatabi is fast and cool looking. And the Jinchuriki died to Hidan, the weakest member of the Akatsuki. Like how does he cut you? With the Jin Cloak, he literally, all he has is a sword. He can't use ninjutsu, just Jin Cloak and tear him in half. I don't get how you as a Jinchuriki lose to Hidan.
Oh, Kakuzo was there too, and she didn't have complete control over Matatabi. She couldn't do a perfect Jin Cloak.
Which is weird, considering the fact that Killer Bee could, and he took Naruto, who's not from the Hidden Cloud, to the place where he learned to do it. Like her, I don't even remember her name. Her ability was spitting flaming furballs. Flaming, I swear to God, Kishimoto could not write a powerful woman if Nobara punched him in the face. What were we talking about? Anyways, the Hidden Cloud has 2 Jinchuriki, not 1, like Konoha. And those Jinchuriki can manifest their tailed beast to a certain degree, something that we haven't seen out of any Jinchuriki from Konoha until Naruto. But that doesn't mean that the Hidden Cloud always had a control over their tailed beasts. In fact, that was a really big issue. You see, Bluebee, the Jinchuriki of Gyuki before Killer Bee, had a real issue getting a handle on Gyuki. You see, in the manga, it just kind of implied that Gyuki is really hard to beat the Jinchuriki of because he's wily. But in the anime, we get a filler arc where Orochimaru's giving Bluebee kind of crazy pills to make Gyuki rage out of Bluebee and destroy the Hidden Cloud, and also just to get some like cool science evidence. But the reason Gyuki is rampaging around the Hidden Cloud doesn't necessarily matter. We just got to talk about what happened when he did. See, the 3rd Raikage created a force of people that included his son, the 4th Raikage, that would fight Gyuki every time he rampaged. Yeah, they would just beat Gyuki up until he was tired, and then he would go back into Blue Beak. That is a tailed beast, specifically the second strongest one. And they don't have anybody with sealing jutsus, they were just using their hands. You see, taming a tailed beast is a lot easier when you have adamantite chains or Reaper Death Seal. Fuin Jutsu is not the way of the hidden cloud, it's Fist no Jutsu. But then there was one time that Blue Bee went on a rampage, but A, the third Raikage, didn't have his team with him. So A fought Gyuki to a standstill. Essentially, they both knocked each other out. Hashirama is the only other person who's ever 1v1'd a tailed beast, and he has a hard counter to tailed beasts. Wajutsu literally saps their chakra away from them. The third Raikage had none of that. He literally just out-muscled a tailed beast. And those are the kind of feats we should expect from the third Raikage. Because the next event we're talking about is the Third Great Shinobi World War, where we know for a fact that the Hidden Cloud was involved because Minato comes into a battle against A and Killer B. Essentially, while out on a mission, Minato bumps into a group of ninja from the Hidden Cloud that involves the fourth Raikage A and Killer B. Now, this is Minato we're talking about, Third Great Ninja War Minato, who fought off 1,000 Iwa shinobi to end the war by himself. This is the fastest man on Earth. But here's the thing, he's fighting the second and the third fastest men on Earth. And this battle, like many other battles we're going to talk about today, ends in a standstill. Minato has a kunai to Killer B's neck. Killer B has a sword to Minato's heart. And both of those people are still alive in Boruto, unlike Minato. Arguably weaker now, obviously, but still alive. And since we're talking about the Third Great Shinobi World War, let's talk about the third Raikage's role in it. The Land of Lightning launched an offensive. We don't know against who, but based off location, we can guess it was either the Land of Earth or the Land of Fire. Essentially, the offensive fell through, and the Land of Lightning had to retreat back to the Land of Lightning. But just like with Tobirama in the first war, they weren't gonna make it back. So the third Raikage decided to stay back and fight off the forces that were pushing them back. A force of 10,000 shinobi. He fought for 3 days against 10,000 shinobi. And the only reason he died is because he ran out of chakra. 72 hours. They couldn't touch him. And this is because he had a lightning cloak that was impenetrable, earning him the nickname the Perfect Shield. The Perfect Shield that shielded his comrades as they retreated to the Land of Lightning. And after his death, his son, who was very capable, became the next Raikage. And after the death of Minato, he became the fastest person on Earth, using his lightning cloak to A, improve his defenses just like his father, but B, massively improve his speed, being able to hang with Naruto in Jin Cloak. So now we're caught up to modern times in Naruto. But there's something else that makes the Hidden Cloud special. Every single village in Naruto has experienced a coup or has been destroyed or attacked by missing ninja from said village. The Hidden Stone was attacked by Deidara. The Hidden Sand was attacked by Sasori, who killed the third Kazekage and made him into a puppet. Konoha, destroyed by Pain and Orochimaru. And the Hidden Mist experienced a coup headed up by Zabuza and Kisame. Not one member of the Akatsuki is from the Hidden Cloud. I can't tell you why this is, other than the fact that maybe nationalism just runs deeper in the Hidden Cloud than it does anywhere else. Or maybe they're so prosperous and powerful, there's no reason to defect. Whatever the reason is, the Hidden Cloud has been politically very stable its entire existence. But there's also the possibility that ninjas who would have defected just liked the mischievous nature of the Hidden Cloud. Because if we're being real, outside of the Blood Mist Village, the Hidden Cloud is the most morally gray. I would say amongst external affairs, that being non-domestic affairs, that the Hidden Cloud is the most mischievous. I mean, obviously we have things like the time the Golden Silver Brothers jumped Tobirama during a peace treaty. But after the end of the First Great Shinobi World War, when all of the ninja villages agreed to cut back on their military spending, the Hidden Cloud didn't do that. Essentially, the Hidden Cloud saw this as an opportunity to build up their military might while everybody else was de-escalating. They essentially never wanted another village to have a leg up on them, a behavior that the third Tsuchikage said was the reason that other villages never really reached for a time of peace. Because if one person's building up a military while everyone else is building down their military, it's gonna set a little unrest. And this isn't where the mischievousness ends. A couple of years before the Third Great Shinobi World War, the village hidden in the clouds tried to kidnap Kushina. You see, at the time, Kushina was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, and the Hidden Cloud wanted to capture her and research her unique chakra. This plan is foiled by Minato, and that's how Kushina and Minato have their meet cute. In a time of peace, they were trying to kidnap other villages' Jinchuriki. They were doing what the Akatsuki wanted to before the Akatsuki even made it cool. And then after the Third Great Shinobi World War, when people from the Hidden Cloud were sent to Konoha to sign a peace treaty, they tried to kidnap Hinata in order to research the Byakugan. Essentially, the whole peace treaty party was a facade in order to capture one of the Hyuga. This was foiled by Hayashi, and it was the reason that Heizashi, Hayashi's brother, had to kill himself, because the Hidden Cloud denied they had done anything wrong, and this might have restarted the Third Great Shinobi World War. So they demanded the death and the body of the person who had killed this head of ninjas that was sent with the Hidden Cloud envoy. Essentially, they were hoping to get the Byakugan. So the problem was that if Hayashi, who was part of the main family, went, they would get his Byakugan. But Heizashi, his identical twin, took his place because upon his death, his curse mark would activate and seal his Byakugan away forever. Oh, I'm sorry. Earlier, I said it was after the First Great Shinobi World War that everybody was de-escalating their military might, but the Land of Lightning continued to escalate. It was actually after the Fourth Great Ninja War. So like right now in Boruto, essentially. This is why in Naruto the Last, the only canon Naruto movie, we get the Hidden Cloud takes control of the make sure the moon doesn't hit the earth task, because they've been building giant chakra cannons that can blow anything out of the sky. When you see a man pull two moons down to earth and you can only stop one of them, you want a game plan for that later on. But once again, that speaks to their strength. They have giant chakra cannons capable of possibly destroying the moon. And here's the thing, everybody likes to rag on the current group of Kage because they're not as strong as previous groups, and that's absolutely correct. Darui is actually very powerful. He's on par with the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist in Kenjutsu, and he knows Black Lightning, a jutsu created by the Third Raikage and passed only onto Darui. Black Lightning is essentially an extension of Darui's will. A bit like how Goku can bend his Kamehameha wave, Darui can form his lightning to match his will. He can create a Black Panther out of it that he can control. It is very powerful. And then there's the Fourth Raikage's assistant, whose name I have to look up, Mabui, who is one of the baddest women in this show. Mabui has an ability called Heavenly Transfer Technique that I believe is critically underspoken about. Heavenly Transfer Technique allows Mabui to transfer anything or anybody anywhere on Earth instantaneously. It's Flying Raijin, but you can use it on objects.
You can use Flying Raijin on objects.
This is better. With Flying Raijin, you can Flying Raijin somebody to one location and yourself to another. You can even, in Minato's case, Flying Raijin tailed beast bombs away. But with Heavenly Transfer Technique, you can transfer massive amounts of things anywhere on Earth, not just where you have a seal. You can just say, I want it in Antarctica, and it's there. The only downside is that if you get transferred with Heavenly Transfer Technique, it's a bit rough on your body. You don't enter a dimensional rift like you do with Flying Raijin. You just get beamed there at the speed of light. So the only people that can really stand this is Tsunade using her strength of 100 seal, or the Raikage with the lightning clothes, or anybody of that caliber. But those are the only people that you would want to send anywhere, for being real. Also, the damage is kind of helpful because if you send somebody somewhere who you don't like, they'll get damaged on the way. So the current generation that's inhabiting the Hidden Cloud is very strong. As strong, if not stronger, than Konoha. Obviously, Naruto and Sasuke are ridiculously powerful, and so is Sakura. But on a median level of your average ninja, the Hidden Cloud is probably more powerful, and that's backed up with literal stats from the stat book. But what do I know? I have no real horse in this race. I don't believe the Hidden Cloud or Konoha is uniquely stronger than each other in a myriad of different ways. I think both are strong in their own respective ways. Konoha has more become the center for scientific advancement, while the Hidden Cloud has become more the center for just military might. But what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below, what village do you think is stronger and why? And while you're down there, please like the video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you're looking for more NC Hammer 23 content, guys, go ahead and drop a follow on my other page, NC Gamer 23, where instead of talking about anime, I play video games. It's fun, I promise. I'm a fun guy. No fun guy has ever had to say they're a fun guy. Listen, I'm not saying it would be the easiest $1 billion that Kishimoto has ever made in his life if we got a story of the Hidden Cloud arc or even a show, but people of color do need better representation in anime, and literally right there